Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hello, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. John Mr. Fox here on the show this evening is your Robert. Evening, Robert.
Evening, pal. How are you?
Can I take the fifth on that one, mate? You know, I'm a man of a few words, as you know. I'll be honest with you, mate. I'm slightly annoyed, mate. I don't get annoyed often. It takes a lot to rile me, but I'm concerned and annoyed, mate. There you go. Is that fair enough?
Aye, mate. I think that's a fair argument. I think there'll be a lot of that same feeling tonight from the aftermath of last night. Disappointment, frustration, and a lot of head scratching, I think.
Aye, there's a lot of puzzles going on, mate. I like a puzzle myself, you know what I mean? Do you like a puzzle?
I don't mind one, but it's good if you know the solution.
But that's the point, you know what I mean? You're better than a jigsaw without the box, mate.
Well, that seems to be what we're doing so far. We seem to be trying to put a jigsaw together without all the pieces.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do, mate. There's a lot of bears out there and they're entitled to come on and gaze their opinion, right? So we'll get the phone lines opened and then me and you have a chat and then people are welcome to join us. Does that sound like a plan?
Sure does.
But there is good news, mate.
All right.
Yeah, we're all money better off because the Super 6 doesn't start for a couple of weeks, all right?
Noted.
All right, so let's hear from you, get people's thoughts. Come in, make them brief. Here's your own thoughts. You frustrated, angry, or are we overreacting? Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
All right, mate, I said my bit last night. Don't want to repeat myself. I'm sure I will at some point. I do it quite often. It's a trait I've got. But give us your take on it, mate.
Initial thoughts, mate, from the team selection was a bit of I said earlier, a head scratch. Still trying to figure out what the actual shape and formation was, the setup. I know I'd spoke to yourselves before the game, and on paper, to me, it looked like a 4-3-3 with Asgard playing the left wing, Yokota playing the right wing. But when I actually started watching the game, to me, it looked like a basic 4-2-3-1 with Tochi in the 10, which is baffling. He's kind of been, I wouldn't say he's out the picture as such. There's a kind of big emphasis as that, but he's been kind of a bit part player during the pre-season. And obviously, I know he got 2 goals out in Spain, but they were kind of cameo appearances. But to bring him into a European game in the 10 position where we've not seen him play was a bit of a head scratch.
He looked miles off it, didn't he? He looked miles off it.
He did, mate. He did. And again, I don't know if that's down to the fact that he's playing a position he's not used to or not comfortable with, but that's not down to the player. That's down to the tactics and the set up from McInnes, who the team selection's on him. So if your starting 11 isn't right and it's not set right, doesn't look right, that goes back to the manager. No matter how long you've been in the job, that's ultimately going to be on the manager's decision all day long. Thought we started okay without being brilliant. They had a kind of couple of earlier chances, but nothing too great. Kind of balls around the box. The only good bit of combination play throughout the whole night that I seen, mate, was literally the goal, and it came obviously as an own goal. But the combination between Diamonde and Romans down the left was good. Puts in a good ball, and obviously we get the fortunate deflection in the net. And again, it's similar to Friday night where you got the goal back against Dundee United. You thought, right, okay, good start. We'll maybe hopefully kick on here. But McInnes said it after the game, mate. Inexplicably, the second game in a row, we stopped playing and stopped doing what we were meant to do. And they they just cut us open. I couldn't believe how open we were at the back. Fernandes, another one who seems to be the easy target at the moment for a lot of the goals we've conceded. His positional play, his reading of the game, his understanding. It's all things we've said last season, and we seem to be repeating ourselves this season with Fernandes, and he ultimately is, at this moment in time, the fall guy. But I thought, to sum the game up overall, mate, it was a real frustration, disappointment, and I'm a bit concerned that there's still not an identity in terms of relationships, connections, or patterns of play within the areas of the squad. I know it's still early days, and I hate to say the word, but it's still early days because other teams can go and do it, and we've been shown up by other teams that can do it. The amount of players we've brought in, you're expected some teething problems, but we are Rangers. We should be better than that. Going away from home, even last night, people were saying you'd be happy with a draw. Not for me. You want to win every game, whether it's European football or domestic. So a real frustration that we're having to get into the second leg a goal down, and thankfully it's only a goal because there was moments where it could have been more.
Well, he must have sat her, didn't he?
Massive sitter, mate. I think if that was us, we'd been screaming at telly. So we're probably screaming at telly at that moment in time anyway for defensively, the shape, the organisation. But I think we keep saying it, there's a lot of work to be done, but for some reason the work seems to get bigger within a couple of days of each game so far, and that's a worry.
Well, I take your point about early in the season and frustration. And if we'd have won 2-1 at Dundee United and we'd have scored that goal early, played out the first half, not conceded a goal and played like we did in the second half without being outstanding, we wouldn't have been concerned because you've got results. But we didn't. And we've drew and we've lost in the back of a bad run of form at the back end of last season. And we've come in, we've watched the team in 2 friendlies, mate. And let's be really honest, mate, we're not creating a lot of chances. So our strikers only scoring any goals. We're not scoring many goals. And our defence looks vulnerable. We thought we cracked it with Ben Godfrey. We seen him against West Ham with some decent players, and he coped and organised us. We've took that peg out the hole. And let's be honest, Big Sterling, I don't even know if he's a defender. He's only a centre-back in emergencies, mate. And if that's an emergency, last night, the gaffer's entitled to use him. But if that's all we've got, mate, we're in trouble. Throw in Fernandes' performance, which he's continued for the back quarter of last season, mate. If you want to look at the amount of goals we've lost in the last run of games, mate, it's frightening, mate. Frightening. And he's involved in a high percentage of them, mate. High percentage of them. Yeah. Now, it's all right having a step over, and it's all right turning inside and making a nice pass. But you've got your basic job today, mate.
100%. His job, first and foremost, is defend. Doing all these wee passes and runs out from defence with the ball is things that you add to your game. But as you say, you've got to do your job and your responsibility first as a defender. He's not covering himself in glory with his positional sense. I think we've spoke about it the course of last season. He wasn't in the right place. If you watch the goal back again, Ox, last night, the first goal they get, he stands in the right position, but as soon as that boy checks back to go outside the box onto his right foot, Fernandes moves out of that position where if he stays still, the ball
He's
is being
lazy,
cleared.
mate. He's too lazy, mate. He wants to roll about. He's too lazy. Yeah. And to make the game easier for you, you've got to be concentrating and moving all the time. And when I say moving as a centre half in positions, it might mean you have to move yourself 3 or 4 yards. But he thinks that he's great pace. He has great pace for a centre back. I'll get him out of trouble all the time. Well, it didn't last night because he was culpable or involved in 2 of the goals we gave away, mate. And he's footwear. Yeah. He's footwear. Wow.
Aye, playing with the slippers on comes to mind there. And there was a few times where he got caught out. There was a ball played back to him. I think it was Sterling that tried to play the ball back. He was hesitant. He was on his heels. They got a breakaway. The boy's bearing down in goal. And thankfully, it takes a wild shot and it goes by the post. But
that was a terrible pass, by the way. That was a terrible
A
pass.
terrible pass, but Fernandes has got to kind of be on his toes to go and to meet the ball for one. But then once that striker's bearing down in goal, he's got to close him down. At no point does he go towards the ball. He just runs in a straight line, which again defensively you question. But as I said, he seems to be the fall guy at the minute. But he's the easy target because of the mistakes he's making are the simple basics of defending.
He's due. Nothing personal with the big fella. I said I called him a diddy on the show last night, and he was on that performance last night. I'm only critiquing that performance. He's due every bit of stick he gets for that performance. Not alone, by the way, in last night. Yeah? Because we didn't play as a team. No, I accept it was very warm over there, right? And the game's difficult. That doesn't excuse you not doing the basics at the start of the game or go with your runners. You might not last the game, or you might have to come off because you're knackered and the heat's took its toll on you. But you then make the game, play the game better. Pass it quicker to your teammates. Get in position and make the game easy for yourself. Make the ball do the work. No, we hold on to it too long. We're pedestrian, and then we can't get it wide, and everybody's back in their shape. So the defence were red rotten last night. Talk me through the midfield. I couldn't understand. I've looked at it. I've thought about it today. The Asgard, the Diamondi experiments, Derek, please. You've got my number. Give me a phone. I'll run you through it. Tell you what you've got today, because this is embarrassing. Because we've watched them and we know there's certain things that these boys can't do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it shouldn't be a surprise to McInnes either what these guys can do or can't do, because he's seen them up close last season. He's played against them 4 times, so he knows what they can do and what they can't do. You can see how we've used them last season, and that wasn't good enough. Now we're trying to use them differently, which looks more wild than last season at times. I mean, Tochi in a 10, Diamondi out in the right. No, not for me, mate. The midfield, as I said, the way I seen it, it looked to me as if it had been Neil sitting as a kind of pivot with Tochi to the right of him and Diamondi to the left, or whatever way they set up. Probably the other way around, having these inside weak foot on the best side and all that kind of thing. So that's the way it looked to me. But it seemed more of, at times, Diamondi and Neil is 2 holding with Tochi in the 10. But then there was points where Diamondi was wide left, Tochi was still on the 10, and Neil's in the middle himself. There was massive gaps. There was no structure. There was no sort of system in or out of possession. It seemed a wee bit of 11 guys out in the park trying to play football for the first time together.
Does that concern you, mate?
In midfield especially, yes, because that is the engine room, and if that's not ticking over, then we're either going to get run over in midfield, we're going to lose possession, we're going to give away chances, and we're not going to create going forward either. So if your engine room isn't working, then how else is the rest of the team meant to function? There's players there, but we're quite overloaded now with midfielders. Last season we were saying we were short. We're overloaded now.
But do you want to keep seeing Diamandi doing what he's meant to do, mate? One pass in the first couple of minutes is the only pass he makes in the whole of the football game. Except he's not a wide player, so I'll give him a bit of a pass for the second half. He's pirouetting, getting the ball away, lying down, doesn't always get the foul, and then offer nothing, mate. Very, very little, mate. Tucci last night, mate, I couldn't understand where he was playing. There was only one way that team could have sat out last night, and when he put Asgard left, he's then got Neil and Tucci sitting with Diamondi in front of him. It never looked like that at all. With Asgard on the left and Yakota on the right. Yeah, but it never looked like that at all. It was totally all over the place. And Neil doesn't look as if he can pass the football, mate. We've heard this, he's played with Ipswich, he's played with Sunderland. And Big Port Bear, he's not big. Port Bear said last night, is he the next Joe Rothwell? And I hope no, for the boys' sake, and no offence to Joe Rothwell, but he's passing the football. Yeah, he played one pass at Cincinnati, was it? He played one to Majowski in a friendly.
Yep.
Yeah, but he's been involved in 2 halves of football and been appalling, mate. Appalling. Dundee United and last night, along with others, by the way. So I'm concerned, mate. Really concerned. Concerned about the shape, concerned about the personnel, concerned about the pace of the team. And I'll tell you else what's worrying me. I'm concerned about the attitude of the team, mate.
I can't disagree, mate, at all with the attitude. As I said earlier, and McInnes has said it last night after the game. 2 games we've played, and we've inexplicably stopped playing after we've scored a goal or we've got back into the game. That can't happen. That's not down to the manager. That's once again down to players. And for far too long, some of these players, your likes of Diamonde, who have been there for a number of years, have got away with it. There's been that much hype and pressure on the managers that sometimes these players go under the radar and they get let off with it. Well, now they shouldn't be. Diamonde, I'm going to use an example because he's one of the guys that's been there the longest. It started last night. He should know from experience. We all know what he can do, what he can't do. For me, I would have him starting.
Tell me what he can do.
He's got an engine he can run. That's
right,
about it. He can
got
cover ground.
Right. Is he a good tackler?
No.
Is he good at passing the ball?
No.
Can he do it?
Not seen him header a ball or jump for a ball much. No. I
Can
wouldn't
he
have him
shoot?
in my team
Can he shoot?
when he wants to, but
Can
not
he
on
shoot?
target.
Can he shoot?
Not very.
Right. Would you be comfortable when we're striking a ball and running out and taking a corner for Ibrox? Do you think he could get it in? Honestly.
No.
What's he doing in our team, mate?
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Personally, I wouldn't start him, mate. I wouldn't have him in the starting lineup. At the moment in time, you look at midfielders, the ones we've brought in, is Diamonde better than any of them? Have the ones come in shown us that they're better than them? On the evidence we've seen, it's hard to argue apart from Cammy Devlin. But as I said before,
wait a
I'm
minute.
not surprised with Cammy Devlin.
Roll back, right? Cammy Devlin's come in and done okay against United and done okay against West Ham, right? What's he done when it's mattered? 60 minutes against Dundee United, anonymous. Last night, second half, couple of times broke up play, couldn't shoot. He was poor last night and all, mate. So let's not be kidded, mate. People don't get a pass because they're new. He's played near enough the same minutes as Mr. Neil, different minutes, right? And he's been poor as well in the competitive games where it counts. They pass, mate. It's done. Cincinnati and West Ham, they don't matter, mate.
I'm not saying that he gets pass marks because he's a new signing and Dan Neil doesn't. What I'm saying is I'm not surprised with Devlin's performances in terms of the fight and the grit that he's got in this game.
When did he win against Dundee United in the last night? Where was the grit and determination? How many times did they win the ball? How many times did they break up play in they 2 games?
Well, when he came on, we dominated a lot of that possession.
We go better. We go better and maybe help the set up and Raskin improved. I get that. I'm just talking about him personally last night and the games of football, mate. Look, I'm not saying we throw him under the bus, but I'm just saying as part of the team, in they 2 competitive games, he's been as poor. Those some of the players, but he's not been great near him, mate.
But over the 2 games, you could only say that no one player has had 2 good games, if we're being honest. Asgard was okay against Dundee United, the best player of a poor bunch. Last night, you couldn't pick a best player, if you're honest.
We're not the player that's not done anything wrong this season. He's lost 3 goals. He's been my goalkeeper. And I heard people saying that he should have touched that one round the post and done something with that goal, mate. If they're playing too much football or whatever it is, FIFA, and you think you can do that, you'll do that 1 in 1,000. That was a brilliant save.
He was on the stretch. He's not going to get it any further than where he put it. You watch it back, he's on the stretch in full, so he's done his job. The defence was exploited. McCrory had run back 100 yards because he never got the ball from Neil, which was a poor decision from Neil not to game it. So he's burst a gut to try and get back there. He's too short. He can't react quick enough. But I've seen it myself. There's people looking at the keeper, not sure about him. He said no fault with any of these goals whatsoever. None at all. Far too early to blame a keeper friend.
In fact, that was a great save, mate. A great save. Yeah, and if somebody would have kicked out for a corner kick, you'd have been applauding the boy. Yeah? You'd have been
Correct.
applauding him. Anyway, we've been joined by our Billy. Good, because it saves me. You get my blood pressure up. Yeah? Evening, Billy.
Good evening, good evening. Talk about your blood pressure, honestly. You want to see mine last night, mate? It was through the roof, honestly. I heard you talking about Fernandes there. I've spoke to Southside privately about this regarding Billy Big Boys, eh? Fernandes thinks he's, how can I put it to keep it polite, guys?
Parisian Beckenbauer all rolled into one, yeah?
Well, aye, that's the word I was looking for, eh? That's the word I was looking for. See, to be honest with you, Ox, there's only, I know we're short at the back, you know, with numbers and all that, but listen, I would drop him to bring him back down to earth. I would. Suppose we had to go 3 at the back, 3-5-2. I would, mate. I would drop him. You know, because that's 3 goals now he's cost us in 2 games. You know, he's just sauntering about the park. He's no trying. He's no sprinting back. He's jogging. His positional sense is absolutely shocking, to say the least. You know, he was on his arse a few times last night. I know. I mean, Chermiti was the same. That's another thing that really frustrated me. I know. I'll just touch on that briefly, mate. They guys are going earlier to that game, right? They're getting real looked after. They'll have at least 2 to 3 pair of football boots with them. They'll have a pair of moldies. They'll have blades with them.
And
right?
the rest.
Aye, exactly, mate. That's me giving them it, you know, nice. And they'll have studs as well, mate. And for they guys to go out, they'll have it on that part the night before it or whatever. Then they'll have started training on it as well to get a feel for the surface. And for them to choose the wrong footwear that's amateurish. That's not what professional football players do. You know, regarding the formation that the manager's trying to play and what he's trying to get out of them, I don't know, mate. I mean, I'm not saying nothing about Derek McInnes. I think Derek McInnes is the right man for the job. But what I will say is Derek knows the score in Scotland and he'll have an idea what will work in Europe and all because he's seen Rangers on numerous occasions. So the gaffer will maybe need to stick to a formation that he knows is tried and tested and works and no start to tinker with things at such an early stage or as we're getting into this new campaign because we're not hitting the ground running. Aye, we're short, as I said, in numbers, but listen, we've got to come up with a game plan and stick to it, you know, because the last few games have been a wee bit concerning, eh? And that's no down to the manager, by the way. The manager's obviously telling them what to do, and their players are not carrying it out. So it's on their players.
Well, I'll say about Derek McInnes. I'll say Derek McInnes looks a better fit for us. He looks the way he conducts himself, his press conferences. He looks better to the game start, mate. And we see the selections. And I know he's hamstring, we're short in certain positions, and I get that, mate. You know, but I mean, even last night, for me, young Yokota, keep him on the bench till the game opens up, especially when the game's hot, and it's meant to give the boy the best chance you can. Yeah, he went fresh against fresh, and the boy he done okay without being outstanding. Yeah, but somebody else might not have anybody else. Well, use young Finlay then, who obviously was unlucky not to score a worldie, and things happen when he's on the park. He's just that type of boy. He doesn't look a comfortable football player, and then bring the boy Yokota on, yeah, or change your formation and have Diamandi left, Asgard in the middle, and AR in the other. Yeah, and those were the 3 who had in midfield because that was just a bomb scare. And we've watched Diamandi. We've watched him do it in numerous occasions. We've watched him have good games against them. He's had some no bad games at times. But one pass after a couple of minutes down the line to Romans and then you don't contribute anything. The whole game, mate, you're just a bomb scare. You spend more time your backside. I couldn't work out the shape of that team, Billy, last night in the midfield. I couldn't work it out.
Well, funny you should say that, Ox, because I thought the same. You know, when I seen it flashing up my telly, I think it was like a 4-3-3. And then when they flashed it up on the telly again, it was like a 4-2-3-1. I went, what's going on here? What formation are we playing? You know, but regarding Diamondi, you know, see all the daft wee pirouettes and the wee step overs, and you know, listen, it looks pleasant to the eye when it comes off, you know. But I'm no one. I'm not, and what he does as I know, he does it in the wrong area, you know. And I don't think Diamondi has got the football intelligence or the football brain to see in a good area when there's a nice easy pass on, you know, just to play a guy in or play it in. Apart from the ball he shoved inside the fullback was a great ball for a goal. You know, see if we would just stick to the wee passes and keep it nice and simple and play the correct pass at the correct moment, then that's what I'm looking for.
Billy, with the right weight.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. But he's, you know, sometimes he's short. He'll hit it too hard. I mean, there was one thing he tried a wee shimmy last night, near enough past the ball out the park. I think it was the time when Romans was going up the left-hand side, and Romans had the ball, and he just got to it, and the ball rolled out, but he obviously played the whistle. I think that came from Diamondi as well. He needs to cut that out of his game, because that's never going to work, eh? And that's how he'll never better himself or get the move or get a move wherever he's wanting to go, because it'll just not happen, you know.
Well, the problem is, mate, we watched the movie and Derek, he's hanging his hat on him, Robert. It's a big gamble, mate.
It is. It's a massive gamble. Evening to you, Billy. Cheers for joining us, pal. It is a massive gamble, Ox, because again, we've all sat here and we've looked at Diamondi and we've always said the same thing. He can do some brilliant things, but it's the basics, and as you say, it's those 5-yard passes, the correct pass with the right weight, the right time. It's all wrong, and it's all the basics yet again that we question for one player. So you start to wonder what's Derek seeing in Diamondi that we're not, because I might be wrong. Diamondi's played probably the most minutes so far outfield under Derek McInnes. That includes pre-season and the competitive games. How he stayed on against Dundee United, I don't know. How he stayed on last night, I don't know. You can't say it's just down to personnel, because surely there's a better person that's fitted to the position that Diamondi's been asked to play. And if he's starting out on the right last night, I know he sets up the goal, but what's he doing out on the left if he's meant to be on the right?
I don't think he was ever on the right, mate.
Well, that's the way it was, as Billy said, it flashed up that it was meant to be. But
because it flashed up, mate. Because
I know.
Flashed up doesn't mean that's but what we do know is Chamiti was through the middle, Asgard was on the right, and Yokota was on the left. Asgard was on the left, and Yokota was on the right. We all agree with that?
Aye, but I thought so, aye.
Aye. And then in between them, mate, I couldn't work out what was happening. I talked about it last night. There was times that Neil was there, and right in front of him was Diamondi, and then Tucci was in front of him, and near enough a straight line, mate. So it meant when you lost the ball, there was acres, and if the fullbacks had run by the ball, yeah, it's just crazy football, yeah. And I couldn't understand what we were playing and the inexperience, because then when you do get the ball in midfield, and however who it is, you're looking up and you've not got a pass one, because you can't go forward because your mate's straight in front of you in a straight line. There's no delight or left of you, and we're not working as a team. We've watched it for too long now, and obviously the boy Neil's come in. He's new, so he's got a bit of a pass. He might just be finding his feet. We've got to be fair in that. So Schwani came in at January, started okay, and let's be honest, he started okay. We said, oh, he's got pace, he can get about the pitch. It looks as if in the holding position he could be an asset. Since I think we've got the words out of our mouth, he's been rotten. And he just came on last night. He looked poor. Yeah, so they three were about the piece, were also abysmal. And then we go to the front three. Yokota will give a pass mark. I wouldn't have started him. I understand where he did. Shermiti's got the wrong studs on. Should have scored, and when we get the own goal, be good for him to get a goal just for confidence and all that. Ran about, done a lot of work. Yeah, was gone after about 70 minutes, in my opinion. And Asgard, Derek, he can't play there. He can't do it. We've watched him. He can't do it. Don't be fooled. He can't play there. Billy.
Aye, well, it's a head scratcher, mate. Back to what I said earlier on, I think he's still trying to tinker with what he's got and what kind of formation he's got and what he's trying to bring the best out in these players, to try and get something out of them, and fit into some kind of system that he's trying to blend them into doing type thing. But you're right with Asgard, they can't play in that position, mate. Listen, I was raving about him last year, as you know, and he's really disappointed me. And then I seen him at the World Cup, and then I seen him again there. The last game he played, I went, you know what? Maybe this is a player that I know it's there. He's going to kick on now. But like, he was back to his old self again last night, wasn't he? You know, try to do this, try to do that. The wee fancy touches this way, the wee fancy touches that way, and you know, I'm like, just big man, just keep it simple. You know, you're an Aryan, just keep it simple. But I don't know where he's. For the life of me, Ox, I'll fire this one back. I don't know where his best position is.
He can only play one place, mate. He's got to be in front of the midfield and that 4-2-3-1, in front of the number 9, or playing between the 9 and the midfield, or playing as a second player up front, mate, where he can go anywhere he likes. If you want him to be disciplined, if you want him to chase back, if you want him to, right, I'll ask you the same question about Diamande, right?
Mhm.
Can he tackle?
No.
Robert, you agree?
Agreed.
Right. Is he pacey?
No.
Robert?
Nope.
No. We know he's got great technique, yeah, and he can make things happen, right? So he's got good ability. Would that be fair?
I'll give him that, mate.
Yep.
Sorry. On you go, mate.
Is he defensive minded?
Definitely no.
Nope.
Right. So you can't pay him deep line midfield, mate, because he doesn't switch on. You seen that last week when the boy came in half-heartedly when we lost the goal. Obviously there was a bit of ricochet, but he came in half-heartedly, done nothing. And the order to play, it was maybe if he comes for it, he's got to make sure it's his ball, or don't go for it. So we know he's got good technique. We know he's got good ability. We know he can strike a good ball. We know he's not blessed with it. He's not the fastest. He's not the slowest, by the way. Let's be honest, right?
Mhm.
So that's the only position you can play him. The rest, you're wasting your time. And we've seen him for a year now. And you either have to get in the ball and give him that free roll, and he'll do some wonderful things, and then you have to make players run off him, and he'll make passes. If you don't do that, I think you're wasting your time with the boy in the team. You're not being fair to him, and you're not being fair to the team, in my humble opinion. Robert?
I think you're being fair there, Ox. I think the only position that seems logical and sensible based on what we've just said there is in that position just behind the striker in front of the midfield for Asgard. He's got the ability. We've all said it. We can all see he's got the ability. He needs to up the tempo and the urgency to decide whether he's driving with the ball or passing the ball. Far too many times he's caught in possession, but he's got the ability and he's got the IQ to drift into good areas, pockets of space.
If he's got the IQ, Robert, how does he think he can wait for the ball and everybody else will just stand and let him play?
That's what I'm talking about. He needs to up that urgency, but he's got the intelligence of knowing where to be to get the ball. But once he does receive it, he's got to be quicker at his next move. He should know his next move. He should anticipate getting that ball and go, right, I'm passing it there or I'm going in there. That's what he needs to do. But he's got the ability and the levels to find those pockets of space initially. But once he does receive it, is then where he gets caught out. But he needs to be in that free roll position because that's where he can be most effective.
I genuinely don't see where else you play him, Billy. I genuinely don't. I'm no.
Well, sorry, Ox, do you know what I was just thinking there when the twos were chatting away there? I'm just getting back to this formation again, right? The 4-2-3-1 that you're talking about, you know, and how long have I been banging on about this? Right now, see all these previous managers that's managed Rangers, they've all played basically that system. I think there's been 5 played that system. And Derek McInnes is thinking we can down that road as well. And I hope he doesn't do it, by the way, because I really just, because it'll no end well. That said, do you think, when you were talking there about Diamondi and Asgard, I know you said like Asgard as a 10 there, Ox, right? And sometimes Diamondi's played as a 10 and sometimes he's played out left and kind of in that the 3. So do you think there's a place in the team for they two under a different formation? A 4-4-2, a 4-3-3, or a 4-5-1, or a 3-5-2?
Well, where do you play? Where do you play Asgard in a 4-3-3?
That's exactly what I'm saying, mate. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Now, Diamondi, I would argue you could play him in a 4-3-3 if you did a real pivotal centre midfielder. You could play him to the left of you, because I don't think he can play right. Having watched him, he looks more comfortable on the left, and you see that he drifts to the left. Yeah, so that tells you that he's more comfortable on that side of the park. Bizarrely, I watched him on the right, and for some reason he doesn't look comfortable. So in a 3, arguably, if you had them working together, somebody central and they worked as a 3, up and down, left and right, and worked as a unit, yes, you couldn't play Asgard in that. Because if you play him and you couldn't build your team, he couldn't be the pivot in the middle of a 3. Because you just know that somebody would run by him and he would just go stick out a wee dainty leg and that would be it, yeah? Right? And you couldn't play him left and right in the 3 because he wouldn't be switched on or disciplined enough to work with you, because you all have to work together. Yeah, I mean, to me, they're overcomplicating the game now with some of the things they come up with. But that's because of certain players can't play there. And because they can't play as wide wingers, where do you play them? And how do you fit the two of them into the team at the park at the same time? And if you play a 4-2-3-1, we've watched Diamondi sitting the 2, particularly with Raskin. And how many times has he been outstanding? Not a lot, mate. Not a lot. He's maybe been effective when he's come on as sub. And we've watched him a lot, and you've had performances away at the United, like you had last night. You've had performances like that in various games, mate. And he's always liable to do something silly. Look at the pressure he put under, was it Clement with his red cards? Yeah, was that last year? I can't remember if that was last year or the year before. Yeah. Crazy tackles. He gets caught up in things. So I don't know if you can fit the two in. Honestly, I'm giving my honest opinion. Robert?
I think for a 4-3-3, the only way you would probably fit them in together is if Diamondi's in beside somebody's a 2 and Asgard's slightly forward, Billy. But again, that leaves that position open where Ox just said that Diamondi's.
Robert?
But 2 wingers, a striker, and somebody just slightly forward with 2 sitters. It's a 4-3-3 to me, mate.
That's a 4-2-3-1, mate. A 4-3-3 is right half, centre mid, left half, Billy.
Aye, that's what I thought too, mate. I was even thinking, sorry, I was just to jump in there, I was even thinking about a diamond-shaped midfield. I know as a 4, could they play maybe at the head of the diamond? I don't know, Ox, but that's just showing a question into the mix and all, for regarding Asgard.
I think, personally, Robert, I think you can only play in the one position to get the best out of the boy. So you're getting opportunities like you did in Dundee United when the ball throws at the edge of the box for nothing and they just bang, goal. I'm genuine. I think Shankland could score that goal because he's got a bit of technique, but apart from him, I don't. Well, you say that after the overhead kick that Chamiti scored, that you'd be questioning that he could do stuff, but consistently, I think he's the only guy in the squad that could do that consistently. That goal he scored against the United. And then you scratch your head, you say, well, how building your team around him? You've seen it last night, how you know? Robert?
It's the inconsistency that we've seen of Asgard, and that's, again, you can go back to last season where you thought when he came in, there was a lot of kind of noise about him and people looked at him as the playmaker, the guy with the quality that we were lacking. He showed it in glimpses, but not consistently enough. And there you go, 2 games where gets you back into the game, a slight tactical change, and he produces more, he's more effective. Then last night, as Billy says, going back to all these wee tricks and flicks and caught in possession, that's the Asgard we know. But we're yet to see the Asgard that we wanted. So there's still a massive inconsistencies with his play. He can have the ability, but it's about doing it on a regular basis. You need to have a 7 or 8 out of 10 performance every week, and we're not getting it. And it's not just him alone, but overall, if you're talking about Asgard individually, in terms of quality, aye, he can score the goal, but not consistently with his performances.
The only thing I would say in his defence last night, see when we were playing that ball, they were playing it up to the wing him, and they were getting it, and he had his back to goal, right? See, sometimes there was no angles for Rangers players to Guani, Diamonde, and Neil. There was no angles. Yeah, there was no options. And then once the day goes back and back and back, and he's thinking, do I try something, or do I just play it back to the centre backs? So 9 times out of 10, the Boscher just went back to the centre backs. But he's the guy that's going to try something. Doesn't it? Fails, and then all of a sudden you're under pressure. And let's be honest, the 2 goals we gave away came from real blunders. And I don't care about Asgard's touch. How Dan Neil, Billy, thought that was the right thing to do. When we've just scored a goal on the other side of the park for a summer position, slide in the fullback, let him run on it, put it across the box and see if somebody can touch it. In fact, Dan Neil should play it out there and keep running into the box because he might get the break of the ball. Yeah? What he was trying to do, pass it in where all the players were. I just don't understand, mate.
No, it's bad decision making, Ox. That's what you cried at, mate, all day long. It's bad decision making. You would think a guy with the experience of him and the football, whatever he's got or whatever he's meant to bring, he would understand that, especially a big game in Europe. Or has he just been caught out on the night? You know, I don't know, mate. But you're right. That's poor decision making. You can't make poor decisions like that. As I said a million times, you get away with it domestically against the so-called lesser teams, you know. But in Europe, you just get punished. That's what happens. And the higher you go in the level in Europe, the more mistakes you make, the schoolboy mistakes you make, or they kind of type errors, the more you get punished. And that's exactly what happens. I mean, regarding Asgard again, you know, I always remember what Steven Gerrard spoke about, and he wanted his players to come off with their lungs burning, you know. You can hate all the ability in the world, like Asgard, you know, but you've got to work. You've got to work hard, eh? And if you've not got that work ethic, you're not good to anybody, you know, because the game just passes you by. And that's exactly what happens, you know. I mean, there were times there against Dundee United talking about wee Shanklin and that, you know, there was 3 times I remember. There was one with Chermiti, there was one with, what do you cry him, Diamonde, and I think there was one with Asgard and all against Dundee United. Shanklin, what I like about Shanklin, guys, is right. He all see if he's no making space for himself. He's pulling 2 and 3 defenders to him to make space for others. And that game against Dundee United, they 3 players were guilty of no picking him out in the box when he was standing with nobody near him, and he was showing his hands up in the air, Shanklin. And last night, believe it or not, there was occasions when Shanklin wasn't in the park, and the ball that he was looking for getting into the box was coming into the box, and Chermiti wasn't reading the situation the way Shanklin would have read the situation, because he'd have been on the end of it. You know, so I don't know, mate. It's a total head scratcher, the new, you know, trying to fix his blend or whatever he's trying to do, you know. But we've got to sort it, and we've got to sort it quick. I know
Sunday, mate.
That's right.
Sunday. You know, I mean, all these games. I mean, the games are all big, right? But these games just became the next week. It became massive, mate. We want to stay in the Europa League because there's more money.
Yep.
Yeah. As simple as that. You want to, and you're trying to sign players. You know, you've got a bit more a pull because you're in a better tournament, allegedly, Robert. And then you're about to attract them with you're starting to win games of football. So people saying, I'm not want to go into that. Look at you. The agency, I don't know if you want to go there. You know, because that's the reality. And that's what's happened because we've had a bad start now. I didn't like the attitude once we scored the goal against the D United, I think for 20 minutes or whatever it was up to we get the goal, we started playing at a tempo, then we stopped. Last night, the second half wasn't bad, but even then there was a middle spell, and I'm going to put that down to the heat, where we lost for away, and they could have scored 2 goals. They cut us open, the shape of the team, Way, Raskin and Devlin on, we got cut open, and we were all over the place. And I'm going to say this experiment of Sterling playing at centre back, forget about it. He ain't a natural fault. Big Fernandez has been atrocious, but Sterling has been poor as well. He's no good in there. I don't even know if he's a fullback. I've said it before. I think his best position, the best form for us, has been his defensive mid. I've never seen him. I don't think he's a great one for sniffing danger. Yeah, he can go up against people at the wing and he can use his strength and he looks harder to tackle than say Tav. I get that, but I don't know if he's an actual defender. So all I see is scratching my head, Robert, and pulling my hair out because I'm concerned. But I want to run you a list. I think somebody took this after follow and sent me it. So I want to just run this by you, right? I'm going to run these names, right? This is since last summer. And I think it's order that they come in the door, right? All right. I'm going to read them out and then we're going to go through them. And I'm going to ask you, hit, jury's out, or flop, right? And you want to keep note of this, Robert, right? How many hits, how many misses, and how many flops, right? I'll read the names for you. You listening, Billy?
Yep, I've got a pen at the ready, mate.
In
So
fact,
don't say them out too quick.
I'll maybe send it to you. Is it right? Okay, I'm good like that. Right. Cameron, Aarons, Rothwell, Fernandez, Asgard, De Giga, Gassama, Moore, Antman, Majovsky, Mahoma, Cornelius, Chermiti, Chugwani, Sko Wilson, Romans, Nadiri, Shanklin, McCrory, Pandur, Godfrey, Neil, Devon, Drogovic, McHanna, and Yakota. That's what we've signed in the last 3 transfer windows now, yeah? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Right, I'll see if I can send that to you. But right, well, there's some of them that have to judge. I get that. Yeah, we want to make sure we're fair, but we've also got to be honest in our appraisal, because I just don't know what we're doing for recruitment and what we're doing and who's in charge. Now I think it's Purdy. Is this his 3rd window? He was there last summer, wasn't he? We brought him in with what was his name? And then we brought in the boy, his son. Yeah, that seems to be working well as well, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so let me just try and send it. So we'll start with the start. Cameron, yeah, he was the first one in because obviously he was a free last year. Hit, miss, flop. There's 3, so it's democracy.
I'm going for. On you go then. On you go, mate. You go first, Rob. Take the pressure off me.
I'll have to say flop.
Billy?
The Cameron we signed at in the summer there, mate. Aye, you talking about?
Lyle Cameron.
Or Lyle Cameron. Flop.
Flop. Okay. I think you've got that list, Billy. I think you should have it, yeah?
Mate, 2 seconds, mate. Just a wee
Right, okay.
here.
Yeah, Robert. So the next one that came in the door was, let me just see. Oh, another Aarons. Billy, I'll go first with Aarons then. Flop.
I concur. Flop.
Full house.
Right. Once we get to 2, we'll move on because it's democracy. 2-1 doesn't matter, yeah?
Correct.
Right, so there we go. We've started well here. We've started well, right? You should have it as well, Robert. Right, so then we're into, we'll try and speed up. Right, Rothwell, Robert,
Flop.
Billy,
Flop.
Fernandez. I'll go jury's out. Robert,
Jury's out.
Aye, same for me, eh?
Asgard. Robert,
Jury's out.
Billy.
Same again. Same, jury's out again, eh? Even though I like Laddie.
Right, we move on to the Jigger. Oh, that's a tough one, actually. He started poor, but he got better. But Ur the Peace, I would say, was a flop, if I'm honest. Robert,
I'll say hit.
Billy, big decision.
Eh. No, I'm going to go to the jury's out, so it's
That's
one
all
each.
right. Not proven, not proven.
Aye.
We have to
Yes,
make
I'm
note
up.
of that one.
Yes, I'm a Billy.
Gassama, flop.
Robert,
Flop.
Mikey Moore. Robert,
Hit.
have you actually looked at his stats? There you go. There's a one for you.
I have my eye, but I'll say
Aye.
hit.
Right, okay. Billy,
Definitely a hit, aye.
okay. My opinion doesn't matter. Ant-Man, flop. Anybody disagree?
No.
Nope.
Majowski,
Jury's out for me.
as we sit today, and he's not getting a stiff today, I need to see he's a flop. Billy,
No, I'm going the opposite way, mate. I'm going to back him. I'm saying he's a hit if he gets a chance, eh?
right, okay.
I like Majowski.
Markoma, Billy,
Jury's out, mate.
Robert,
Jury as well, mate.
all right. I think he started poorly, got better, then did poorly, so I'm going to say he's a flop. Right, Cornelius, I think we can all agree that didn't work, a flop before he even got in, yeah?
Correct. Move on.
Right, Chermiti,
Jury's out.
Robert, Billy,
Same.
aye. Up until Christmas, total flop. For Christmas to the shutout, big hit. And then since the split and so far this season, I think that's fair. We'll go with that. Chukwani, Robert,
Jury's out still for me.
at the moment,
Yes.
Billy.
Aye, same, mate.
All right, I'm going to say he's a flop, and he started okay as well, but I don't think he's kicked on. Scott Volson, do I need to ask?
No.
No. Romans, Billy,
Hit.
Robert,
Hit.
right, okay. Nadiri, Robert,
Jury's out.
Billy.
Same.
Well, I think so far because he's in some decent games, mate, but his injuries and he's not scored that many goals. I think he's so far been a flop, and I don't dislike the big man, but I think he's no setting the heather on fire. So we move on to Shanklin. I think it'd be fair she jury's out. Yeah,
Aye, jury out. Just in.
aye, but some of them are just done as well. We're not going to say that, right?
Aye.
Aye,
He's not getting the service, but
aye, I know, but he's not been great neither. Right, McCrory, Billy.
Try to be fair to the lad here, eh? Kenny's kind of a niggle. I'll say the jury's out again, eh?
All right, okay. Robert,
tough one. Jury's out.
But he's a very kind, boys. Very kind, because his performances still so far. I get his niggles and all that. And the 2 competitive games he's been involved in, I think he's been a flop. So he's a very kind. Pandora, quickly, Robert.
Hit so far.
Billy.
Aye, hit for me or not.
Right. Godfrey. Robert. Come on.
Hit.
Right, okay. Billy. Very kind.
Jury duty.
I'm going to say he's been a flop. He played well against West Ham. And the first game we played, he done okay, then got injured. And he's gone to boot for a month. So I don't see how he's going to have a hit, Robert. You're very kind, mate. Very kind. Dan Neil, Billy.
Jury duty again, man.
Right. Robert.
Jury for me. Jury.
Well, he's played in 2 competitive games. He's done hee-haw. So for me, so far, he's been a flop. You 2 are very kind. Cammy Devlin. Robert.
Hit.
So he's played in 2 competitive games. We've no won any of them, and he's been a hit. Billy.
Jury.
He's been a flop in the 2 competitive games, in my opinion.
Ox, my missus is sitting here chuckling her head off, by the way.
Right. By the way, we're not talking about your performance here, Billy. Tell her that. Do the same. Fox is saying do the same with the techie team and the presenters. Right. Dragovic, Marciana, and Yakota, mate. We'll just leave them as we don't know. Jury's out, yeah?
Aye, yep.
Yep.
Right. That's for the guys we brought in the last 3 Windies. Right, how many hits we got? Robert.
3.
Who are?
Moore, Romans, and I can't remember that one. Didn't write the names down. Sorry.
Your mother, Robert. You know, that's the schoolboy stuff, mate. I've got 4 Ox.
How do you see Robert as a hit misser? Jury's out. That's him.
Oh, he's definitely a miss, mate.
Romans,
I've
Moore,
got-
and
Pandora.
Pandora.
My Oski, I said, was a hit. I've got 4 hits out of it.
Know what you said, mate. It was what. Right, so there you go. There we go. Right, and that's, I think, Soonest summed it up perfectly during the week. Recruitment, mate. And I know and appreciate how difficult it is. Even in the good times, it's hard to get people to come to our league. Yeah, even in the good times. And when we were paying top wages, we didn't get all our targets. So where are we now? It's difficult. I get that. I understand that. But when you actually look at that, mate, it's pretty frightening, mate. Yeah, and concerning. And concerning that whoever's pulling the strings. And one of the things that worries me is we've still not got any pace in our team. Robert?
It's frightening, mate, when you look at it. And if that's just over the last 3 windows, then it's frightening. And it boils down to the thing we've said for a number of seasons and years. Recruitment is key. And clearly, our recruitment has been a flop.
Last word
I like
before we go to the tune, Billy.
I like how you did that there. It's quite clever there, Robert. Well done.
That's me back up.
Aye, no, boss. So we've got 26 signings there, Ox. 4 hits, 7 flops, 15 the jury's out. Wow. Just hope the jury's not out with the tune that Fox squeezes.
Aye, okay. Get yourself on mute, because we're going to have a tune.
Said a father to his son, oh my boy, the time has come. Our country, it is calling unto thee. for those rebels once again to unite us is their aim, but together we must stand to keep her free. Remember our fathers brave and bold as they fought for Ulster's cause and far off lands. Oh, well, my father said to me, I must join the YCV with a rifle or a pistol in my hand. Come all, ye volunteers, let us fight and never fear. Just like our fathers did so long ago. Although I'm 16 years of age, in the volunteers I'll engage, like our fathers did so many years ago. Remember our fathers brave and bold as they fought for Ulster's cause and a far off land. Oh, well, my father said to me, I must join the YCV with a rifle or a pistol in my hand. From Belfast to Armagh, go right to O'Crosscar. From Ballymena to Old Oma Town, over the standards flying high, as it was in days gone by, we will rally round the flag for liberty. Remember our fathers brave and bold as they fought for Ulster's cause and far off land. Oh, well, my father said to me, I must join the YCV with a rifle or a pistol in my hand. Remember our fathers brave and bold as they fought for Ulster's cause and far off land. Oh, well, my father said to me, I must join the YCV with a rifle or a pistol in my hand. Yeah, with a rifle or a pistol in my hand. Yeah, with a rifle or a pistol in my hand.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right, okay, so look, therein lies the problem. I mean, De Giga, Aarons, Moore, Scott Wilson, Cornelius, gone. The only thing I will say about some of them, I'm glad they never gave them 3 or 4 year contracts. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I get the try to buy, and obviously, I don't think we did any attention. Benjamin was never going to be a player, but or De Giga with the wages he's on. So you'd maybe a chance with Cornelius, it didn't work out. And obviously, it looks as if he fell out with Danny Rowe. And then you had You Scott Olsen, well, he's saying that we never passed through him. He was just atrocious. We watched him. He was poor. Yeah, and near enough every game he played. We cut him a slack. By the way, he was involved in two of the best moments of the season because I think it was him who put the two crosses in for Big meet CD against Hearts and the overhead kick against Celtic.
Yep.
So in years to come, you'll see him involved in a lot of videos. You know, so and McHoma and Aarons were the piece. Well, we brought them in as they were going to be our first choice fullbacks, mate. There were two of them. Scottish football, the size of the two of them, the physicality of the two of them. Yeah, I just don't understand it. So there's the loan players. We brought in Godfrey this year in the loan player, and I get it. I'm not against the try before you buy Billy. He's got the injury, so it doesn't matter how good he is. Everybody will say, well, what did we sign him for? He's injured. Doesn't matter if it's related to his previous. If he's never had a hamstring problem in his life and he gets that first hamstring problem, people will say, well, told you he was injury prone. Doesn't matter, that's what they'll say. So all of a sudden he's out for a month, a real crucial part of the season. Yeah, we've got a lot of games, a lot of important games, a lot of financial games, and he's not on the pitch. So there you go. The loans haven't worked. The players were brought in. You know, there's a lot of juries out there, Billy.
Mm-hmm. Well, you did say, Ox, I mind a couple of weeks ago, mate, you said, when you asked us, where, if there were any more signings, where would you like to hear them? Basically, and your concern was you thought we were short at the back, you know, and I think everybody, a wee bit of football knowledge, actually we're all singing off the same hymn sheet there, because that's exactly where we're short. And now, what's happened there is, you've got that lad, he's injured, and if he's obviously done his hammy, he's out for 4 weeks, so that puts the gaffer right in a position that he didn't want to be in right away, regarding Godfrey, you know. So how do you think of it? Have you no? I mean, I think I looked at the actual pool today. I think we've got 30 a pool, mate, and I think we've got something like, did I count about 12 or 13 midfielders, and I think we've only got about eight or some 8 defenders, mate. I could be wrong, just on our books, like, you know. So, and when you look at actual defenders, mate, you've no got centre halves, and that's where the spine of your team is. So that's concerning. So I don't know what he's going to do. As I said, has he got to change the formation to suit what he's got, horses for courses type of thing, and try and come up with something just to get us up and running, and then that should like get us started? Or is he going to? We got to go back into transfer market and bring in a couple of centre halves, mate, which is,
Well,
you
the
know, it's
problem
going
is
to be a hard thing. That's right.
We're going into transfer market. We brought in McCania, Robert. Obviously, was they ready for the D-United game last week? Maybe we whatever and getting settled. I get that. 6 days later, we've made a fuss. We've went and got him his visa sorted out. We've took him on a nice wee trip. He's got some duty free and all that. Yeah, and he's got and he's come back. All right, he's got to know the group and maybe train with them who are there. What were they doing? What are they doing? If he's not going to play, all right, he might have been registered as part of the pool for the next game because we don't know. But surely there was no point, apart from getting to know the group. What's he done? What was the point of taking him out there if he's not fit enough to play? Because if he's not ready, is he going to be ready for Sunday?
Well, that's and again another head scratcher, Ox, because as you've touched on it, you're playing Sterling, who doesn't look like a centre half, in
Never
arguments
was.
for looking like a fullback. So you look at who we played in that back line last night, and you've got a centre back on the bench who is naturally right-footed, but is comfortable on the left because he's had the problem with his right foot. It was a simple thing to do to have Sterling at the right back position, Fernandes, McCania, and Romans, rather than try and tinker it with what you've got. Now, going forward for Sunday, I think we could all say we would drop Fernandes. If you drop Fernandes, you're going to have to play Sterling at centre back again, who we've already said we don't think he's a centre half. So you're trying to fill in more gaps already. But again, I don't understand all that fuss and effort to not play. And you couldn't say it's nothing to do with just being in the door, because you play your quota, who was literally just in the door the day before. So, again, another head scratcher. I would have probably played him, mate, if I'm being honest. If you're playing your quota, you play McCann. I don't see why we didn't.
Billy?
Ox, can I just read something to you, mate? This is quite concerning, by the way. If I'm reading this right. Now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Eight defenders, right? We've got Clinton Nasala, who's out on loan at St Mirren, I believe. We've got Ben Godfrey, centre half, who's injured. You've got John Suter, not getting a light, he's out the door. So what we've got left, we've got Sterling, which we think is a right back. You've got the big fella at St Macahana, it's a centre half. You've got two Romans at left back, and you've got Fernandez at centre half, and you've got a young laddie, Ashton Scally, at 16-year-old, mate.
And McCrory.
McCrory, sorry. McCrory, that's what we've got. That's what you've got, mate, as defenders.
Aye. And we all knew that. We all knew that for the end of last season. John Suter was in a 1-year deal, and for those that are privy to it, we know what's happened there. Cornelius, De Giga, Aarons, McHoma were on loan. So at the moment, we've brought in 2 players to replace 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's now August, and we've been trying to do this since May. And that's my concern with the recruitment team. And they knew that they 5 players were leaving, so they knew by January they should be working on that. It's now August. It's nearly the middle of August. Once you get the end of next week, you're starting to move into the end of the transfer window. We've still got problems. Yeah.
Aye, it's scary, Ox. It's scary, mate. It's not that. It's not as if I got the crystal ball out and everybody was saying, "Oh, we're second guessing everything." It was right out there. It was obvious what was happening. Players were, as you said there, players were out and up at Rangers up and loan. There are ones going out the door, Tavernier. I'm not saying, because there were people out there saying, we should never let them go. We should have given them this. We get like that ship sailed and all. But there were other issues there and all. Shooters, as I said, get a 1-year deal. So all the evidence was there, and that should have been one of the first things that the recruitment team looked at when they came.
There was Cornelius, McHoma, De Giga, on loan in the back, yeah?
That's right.
Right. And you throw in the Suter situation and the Taft situation, you're 6 bodies down.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Salah, they've obviously put him loan and they said he's not ready. We've seen him with good bad games. He's a big boy, plays left side, so right. It doesn't look any worse than anything we've watched so far on the left hand side. Yeah. And he's out. So all of a sudden, we've only got 5 fit defenders at the club, which is absolutely shocking, mate.
It's mental, isn't it? It's mental.
Absolutely shocking. And we knew that 6 of these out the 7 were leaving at May anyway. So I'm going to put you in the spot, Robert. What's your defence for Sunday's game?
Wow. Geez, here we go. McCrory, Sterling, McCann, Romans. Fernandez needs taking out the headlights.
Really?
I am the same, Ox. Sorry, but he's got to get dropped. He's got to get dropped to learn. Sometimes that maybe with a wee kick up the jacks he needs. You know what I mean? Because if he's not doing the basics right, mate, and he's, that's the back 4 I'm going with. I know. Listen, let's put it right, man. There's nothing else you can go with, is there? Unless we play him.
Aye. You play him. You play.
And hope for the best.
Aye. But listen, I agree with you. I think he should be dropped, but I don't think he will be.
Aye, listen, yeah, that's a good shout as well, Ox. I was thinking along the lines and all, mate, and I'm not just agreeing with you for the sake of agreeing with you, you know, but we've got nothing else here to play, so McInnes has just got to trust him and hope that he doesn't start his nonsense. But somebody's need to hear a wee word in it. If that's the case, the gaffer or some of his training team have got to either put the arm around the boy and say, listen, son, you need to buck up your ideas here, or he's maybe needing a bollocking, one of the two if they're going to play him, because it can't go on, like, you know, it cannot go on, but it's going to cost us big time.
The problem with that, Billy, for me is I don't think he'll care if somebody does that. I honestly don't think he'll take it on board. I think he's
Well-
way beyond his. He's too far gone in thinking that he's better than he is, and he needs a brought down to reality. And I think the only way he can get that clearly is from a manager saying, "Here's the bench, have a seat there, son."
I don't think it makes. Well, most likely made him a millionaire, mate. Yeah, and they don't care, mate. I think the days are gone, mate, when he'll still get his wages. When you go at £100 and you get £300 when you're in the team, or you win bonuses and all that, you went home to your missus, or you went home to your house and you couldn't do X, Y, and Z because you didn't have the same cash. It's a different ball game now, mate. I don't think that makes a jot of difference to the players now. Anywhere. Not just our club, mate. I think that's what's happened with the game. And it's changed but above all reality. And if you think telling him he's a sub on Sunday's going to make one jot to his attitude, you're in cuckoo land, mate. As Albert keeps trying to tell you, you can't put in what God left out, mate. And if the attitude's no there, it's just not going to appear, mate. It's the way he plays the game. Hello, Derek. How you doing, mate?
Not bad yourself.
Aye, what's on your mind, mate? Good to hear from you.
I think it's very worrying that we're going the way every single season. See the 8 signings we've made. I think every one of them's a downgrade.
In the moment, I don't mind the goalie, mate.
Sorry, I think
At
the
the moment.
goalie. I think the goalie's very suspect.
What are you basing that on, mate?
I thought a few times against Dundee United and again last night, I thought he should have had one of their goals. And against Dundee United, he's coming for balls he should be catching and he's flapping at them. I could be wrong in the longer term, but I just think that it's a bit worrying at some of the signings. It didn't look like a Derek McInnes team. It looked like a dog's dinner at the back. If you look at him, it's St Johnstone, Aberdeen, Kilmarnock, Hearts. All these teams were difficult to beat.
Right.
We're very, very easy to play against.
I agree with that.
Who's actually signing the players? And I mean, it should get to the old-fashioned way of the manager picking his own players. I don't know who's signing them, but like you said, about 4 hits out of 26. That's just not good enough.
I think
I mean, I come before we play Hibs on Saturday. That mob might be 5 points in front of us. These players get the ball for chasing games.
All right, Derek, I'll take that round the panel. Cheers for that. Look, I think Pandor, I must have watched a different game last week against the United because he came for one cross and punched it. I never seen him flap at anything. I don't think he had a lot today, apart from pick the ball at the net, and it wasn't his fault. I think last night he wasn't culpable for any of the goals. But the rest, at the moment, I get where Derek's coming from. Billy?
Hi Derek, how you doing, mate? A lot of good wee points in there, mate. No, I think the keeper will be all right, mate. To be honest with you, that's just the vibe I'm getting off him, Derek. You know, I didn't see, as Ox touched on there, he's not made any blunders or anything like that. He's not made any bad decisions. You know, the goals he's lost. To be fair to him, you know, there've been cheap goals, but it's been caused in front of him, mate. Could he be? You could maybe argue the case. Maybe he could be a wee bit more switched on, but he's not going to save everything, Derek. You know what I mean? But for me, I think the keeper's right enough, buddy.
What about the other ones?
That's a different
McCrory. if he didn't go radio on Monday night, no disrespect to the boy, he wasn't good enough the last time round, and he's not going to be good enough this time round. And Stirling, you can't rely on Stirling. And as you said, we've known about this since probably the start of May, that all these players were leaving, and we've done absolutely nothing to replace them. And they're not speed in the team. They've not got a ball carrier that's going to take us 30, 40, 50 yards out the park run with the ball. And I don't understand how we can't find good wingers. Baron Cherny, when was the last time Rangers had 2 good wingers?
The most consistent pairing would have been Candace and Kent for a wee while. That would be it, mate. And so you're going back 6 years, mate, maybe, when they were at their best, maybe.
I mean, that's...
Right.
And if you look at that mob over the road, they've always got 2 good strikers, a good number 10, 2 good wingers and a number 10 that's chipping in with 45 goals between the 3 of them. When was the last time we had somebody that it was chipping in with 15, 20 goals from midfield? I mean, that's where the problems lie. We've not got a goal scorer, and Asgard just won't make it at Rangers. He's turning up for one game, disappearing for a couple, then you'll get him for 10, 15 minutes. There's far too many players. And the unfortunate thing, I think by October, unless we've got a grip of this, the season could be gone.
Well, you're not the only one with that concern, mate. Obviously, Sunday becomes massive. Robert, in you come.
Good evening, Derek. I'll take your first
Good
point,
evening.
mate, about the goalkeeper. I've got no issues with him so far. I think the guys have already said he's not been at fault for any of the goals. I know people were looking at him last night for the goal, but I don't see it. He's made a great save on the stretch. He's put it into an area that you're hoping his defence clears up. McCrory's had to burst a gut. So the keeper's done his job. He's been quite comfortable and composed on the ball. There's a calmness around him. He plays that kind of sweeper keeper. He's probably going to get caught out at times, being so high up, but that's the way he likes to play. I've got the issue with him so far. He's not really been tested as such. I've not seen him, but everything he's had at him, he's held comfortably. He likes to punch the ball from crosses. I'll give you that. But he looks confident. He gets
Listen, Derek, we'll let you go, mate, because we're getting a bit of interference for you. But listen,
Right, no worries.
We don't disagree with a lot of your points, and I think you're saying a thing that things that a lot of bears are saying, mate. Look, I think Souness nailed it. But recruitment's not been great. Purdy and Thirlwell, I think they were heading that, and their names it went a bit quiet because we gave people a chance, and there's nothing wrong. I think most of these deals have been done. A lot of them were done before. I think Shanklin, McCrory, maybe Dan Neil would have been pretty close. We'd spoke to him. He had a couple of decisions who he went for, pumped for us. But I think the talks had maybe took place before McInnes comes in. So now McInnes will be involved in many of the transfers because he's been, some of the work will be done. And it's who you get in now. Anyway, we've been joined by Bob Ger. Evening, Bob Ger. How we doing, mate?
I'm doing all right, man. How you doing yourself, Ox? Okay. I've just been listening to this show, and I feel that some people are being a bit harsh on things. We're now out of this league championship with any man and means. We're now out of Europe by any man and means. No way. Okay, it didn't go our way last night, but there was a bit of bad luck involved. I hear you discussing the goalkeeper there. He wasn't at fault for any of the goals. And I believe he will be a good lad, Look, if he's going to start, I'm going to sign off. All right, body with the dug.
All right, mate.
Okay, I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.
Have you Doug? Brilliant, man.
He's the best caller they get all week, Doug.
I know the wee Dougie. Brilliant, man. Listen, just to touch... Sorry, on you go, mate. On you go, Rob.
On you go, Billy. On you go, pal.
I was just to touch on Derek there. I know it was a bad interference. He was talking about a ball carrier. We've not had a ball carrier since Barry Ferguson. That's how long I would go back.
I don't
know.
Stephen Davis, mate.
Well, Stephen Davis is a great football player, but I'm talking about. Listen, who would you choose out of the two of them are the best football player then, mate? I know you could argue. Aye, I know you've got to say Stephen Davis, and I love the bones out of Stephen Davis. I know most cap football player in the history of British international football, mate, says it all. But out of the two, I thought Barry was a better football player, all round football player than Stephen Davis. Just my opinion on it, mate. But listen, Allbear spoke about it. Everybody's obsessed with this. We need a 6, we need an 8, we need a 10. And do you know what? If Allbear, you're listening, mate, you're bang on the money, mate. Bang on the money. But we need a midfield player that can play in the midfield. That's how simple it is. That's what we need. We don't need hodding midfielders or this type midfielder or one that plays out in the left. We need a midfielder that can play the midfield. And that means a good engine, a left foot, a right foot, can put himself about, can tackle, can break the play up, and can go and run beyond the last man. That's the midfielders we're looking for. Our midfielders at Rangers right now, for all we've got, are all too similar. They're all 6s, they're all 8s, they're all whatever they want to be. You know, they're hodding midfielders, or they're that type midfielder.
They're not even good at what they're meant to be good at.
Listen, that's me putting it politely, Ox. I was giving them some credit there, you know. I was the one to shout them down in flames, but that's what we need, mate. We need a midfielder that's got the tools, all the attributes to play in the midfield. You know, if sometimes he's maybe more left-hand sided or more right-hand sided, then he just goes out in the right and playing, or he just goes out in the left and play. But he's got all the rest of the attributes, yeah. That's the way I look at it anyway, mate.
Anyway, we've been joined by Smurf. Evening, Smurf. How are we doing, mate?
I know bad, chaps. He's good.
How you doing, Smurf?
Not bad.
All right, Smurf.
I know
What's
bad.
on your mind, mate? What's on your mind?
So, just a wee sort of thing that perplexes me. I don't mind the signing of Shankland, right? It's a kind of common sense signing, but at the same time, with the squad we've got, our only real creativity is Asgard, and he's only really going to be influential if he's playing in a number 10 role. So it's one thing bringing Shankland in, because he will get goals domestically, but there's a lot of his game that's just no very, it's no pace, etc. Doesn't like play very well. Really, he's competing with Asgard for that 10 role, if you like. And unless the only way you're going to shoehorn them both into the team is if you play with a midfield diamond and you're playing 2 up front. And I don't really see how you get them into the team. I don't see how Shankland plays the majority of all the games, you know, consistently being a first pick. And so I think it's an act of folly making him the club captain. We seen it yesterday. Where he's you know, your vice captain's captain in the team, and because of the nature of the game, you're going to gee up Shankland for, you know, the greater good, as it were. It's just I'm not supporting Derek McInnes, but I think he might have got that wrong. What do you think?
I don't disagree with a lot of that, Robert.
I think Smurf, good to hear from you, mate, as always. I think making him captain, I said it on a show when we were discussing it, that it was the obvious choice for obvious reasons. It had him at Hearts. But McInnes has said it himself. He wants a captain a Monday to Friday, but when the team go out, he wants a team of captains. Now, just because Shankland's a captain doesn't mean he needs to play every game. We obviously seen it last night that he wasn't selected, but you're right in what you're saying with the squad. How do we fit players in? How do we get the best players that we've got at the squad into the best positions for the benefit of the team? And we're sitting here all scratching our head and we can't think of one. So God knows how Derek McInnes is feeling when he's scratching his head as well with who the personnel is. Asgard is a 10. There's no getting away from that. And if you're playing the 2 up front, then your formation behind it, your question of, do you need these wingers then? Where's your midfield? Who's going to be in this diamond? The players that you would think of, we've seen are not good enough. And the ones we've brought in, we're still waiting to see what they actually bring. So the conundrum's still there, mate, but I don't disagree with your sentiment of how do we get them into the right positions. But for captain, I think Shankland is the obvious choice. It wasn't my choice. I didn't say it in the show, but it was the obvious choice.
See,
That was a
see,
terrible choice.
see the way the game is just now. We they it sort of became the norm that the captain's allowed to speak to the referee more than any other players, Billy. If you're that takes the sort of goalie sort of stroke centre forwards out for me. And the way it is just now, you want guys that's more involved in the play with this modern trend with it, as I said, the captain talking to the referee. So it doesn't matter. The guy that wears the armband for that reason only. Common sense for me tells you should be in midfield because you're involved and closer to most of the play.
aye, listen, you could argue the point, mate. You know, it's
Doesn't mean you're club captain, yeah.
aye. No, I get what you're saying there, Ox. You know, you're playing in the middle of the park, or playing the midfield, you've got everyone about, you can see what's going on back and front, side to side, and up front. So understand that. And I see where Smurf is coming for as well, regarding being a captain, being a centre forward. It's the same. You could argue the point that, well, you want a captain to be the goalkeeper for
I
talking
agree
sake,
with that.
you know.
I agree with that point also, mate. Doesn't make sense. We've done it at Butland, didn't we?
Aye,
Then-
you know.
Then we had to nominate Raskin to talk to the referee.
But listen, the way things are going now, Ali McCoy could play in that Rangers team and he wouldn't score. He wouldn't score goals. You know what I mean? With the chances we're creating. But listen, Smurf, I touched on the diamond formation earlier on just to try and juggle things about, trying to get that into the team. You know, but if you play that diamond, the pros of playing that diamond type thing is you can pack that midfield, and obviously you need a holding midfielder, right? And that's one thing we have got is a holding midfielder. So we're spoilt for choice here, you know. And it also gives you a defensive protection as well, you know, because you've got a midfielder sitting right in front of your two centre halves and shutting down the space for other teams' attackers. And then also when you're going forward, you know, you've got your two strikers up top. You know, if you're playing that 4-4-2 with the diamond midfielders, right? So your two centre forwards are keeping their two centre halves occupied all the time. So maybe that is a way to go. Plus, we also know that whatever fullback gets played, for talking's sake, if it's McCrory or if it's Romans or if it's Sterling, that formation as well, it lets the two midfielders, it lets the two fullbacks get up and down and push forward to create width when we go and attack teams, you know. So that could possibly be a way forward, mate. We're obviously, listen, we're just discussing it on the show, like, you know, but listen, if we can see things like that, you know, I'm sure the manager will see it. You know, that's the way I see it, mate. And listen, I hope
if we doesn't, we'll get bigger problems. Right.
That's
Robert,
right.
You've gave us your back four. What's your setup? What's your midfield? Or what's your front line for Sunday's game, Robert?
Oh dear. Your quota on the right. Midfield. I'll go 4-4-2 Ox. Your quota on the right. Devlin middle. I'd like to see Dragojevic come back to that left-hand side. I'd go Shankland up front. I'm going to throw a curveball and put Miovski up front with him. In the left. Wow.
He's in that little football, he'll not be match fit, mate.
Well, that's the other factor is match fitness. But left, I'd go Finlay Curtis.
All right. Aye, well, Finlay, aye, he done when he came on. He started slowly and made things happen. I've always said he's got a knack of making things happen in the box. He's one of these boys, one of these players. You know, the ball falls to him. He's no scared to shoot, and he nearly scored that Waldy last night. You know, he's crossed when he crossed it. I think he should have battered it hard and low, but that's in hindsight, mate. It's easier said than done when you're playing the game. But aye, Finlay on the left, I think he's maybe earned. But I don't know about your midfield because I'm going to tell you something. I don't think Cammy Devlin's fit. I think I watched him against Dundee United. He kept stretching out his calf, mate. He kept stretching out his calf, and I think we played him. And I think as they mentioned that, didn't they? He was touch and go, and I didn't think he looked overly fit last night. Could have been the heat. I don't know. Or maybe it could be somebody signing somebody that comes from Australia that could play in the heat. But right, okay, Billy, you've gave us your defence, which your midfield and your front line.
Well, since we went in that diamond, we'll try and hook something out of formation out of that. Let's go with Raskin sitting as a hodder, Diamondi on the left, Asgard as a figurehead of the diamond. I don't know who'd play in the right, mate. I'd be Dragovic on the right hand side, and I would go with Shanklin and Majowski up front.
Right.
No way I could. No wingers, mate. No, I would play that diamond midfield, Ox. That's what I'd play, mate. Eh?
I can't see it happening, Billy. To be honest.
No, I can't either, mate. That's just I can't see it happening, mate. He'll probably go to 4-2-3-1 or something, or play a 4-3-3. I would imagine, but that's just my opinion to try and get round the problem we're in the now, like, you know. But
so we're back in there. Will be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where the team is on Sunday, because it is a massive game, Smurf.
Aye, huge. It's we've got a must win in it. We've got to win it. We've got to get a win under our belts and sort of get into that good habit. I mean, it's just unthinkable that we get another season of horrendous string of results at the beginning of the season, and then you're chasing your tail, and then you're up against it, and it's just that hamster wheel. We can't do it. We need to break that culture and that cycle. But we'll see where it takes us. I think it's the predicament we're in. It's very worrying. We've got a squad of players, and apart from maybe one or two or three that's a cut above, they're all at a level. Really, honestly, truthfully and honestly, other than the variables of fitness, maybe confidence and whatever, in terms of ability, they're all much of a muchness. And it's okay changing players and recycling players. See, when you're bringing in guys that aren't just any better than the guy that's just went out the door, you're just wasting your time.
Well, sometimes you can't do that, mate. You can't, if you sell somebody for big money, you can't get like for like in the door. You've got to be honest, mate. Yeah, it's not always that possible. What it should do, it should maybe help you improve your first 11. Yeah, if somebody goes out the door on big money, but to replace somebody who's like the quality that offer Ant-Man, who left the club, if your quota doesn't improve them, we'll get real problems in our recruitment, mate. Real problems. Because if you can't improve in their numbers and that quality, that's a different scenario. But I'm looking forward to the game in Sunday, but I'm apprehensive as well, which is mental, Robert, isn't it?
It is, but we've made it that feeling by ourselves, mate, because of the start we've had. Obviously the draw and then a defeat. So you looked at it going into the season, it was full of optimism. There's a kind of, as you said, Derek McInnes looked a better fit. There was a bit of an excitement that we got some bodies in the door early.
Mate. He still does to the game start.
Of course, it does. But what I mean is, we went in there with a bit of hope, and we were all looking, saying it was good that we got the business done early. A lot of players in. I are sitting having debates and arguments about there's still work to be done. We all knew it. But what's frightening is that, as we've all said tonight, we knew how the defence was going to be going into it, into the summer. That should have been the priority. It seems to be that the recruitment's prioritised the midfield over anything else in the team's positions. So it does have a good fit to it, but we are now going into a game on Sunday where, as Smurf said, it feels must win, because if you drop points, it's just going to continue into more frustration and more heat on what's already been a poor start.
Aye. We have to improve the mood, We have to go out and play well. And when does it stop being the start of the season, Billy? That's always a conundrum, isn't it?
Listen, the way you look at it, where I was. Listen, we can pick the bones. That's one thing we always do. We pick the bones out of things, when it's not going right, and then we applaud them and scream it for the rafters when it's gone right, and you can be constructive and give them constructive criticism, etc. And then obviously if people hear the toys out the pram already, oh, he's no good, he's no this, it's no doing that, and all the usual nonsense when it's out there. But we've got to remember as well, right? We've got to try and be level-headed on this. We've signed 8 players, right? A striker, 1, 2, 3, two defenders, 4 midfielders, and a goalkeeper, and a winger, right? Type thing. So I think when the gaffer manages to get these players on the park together, then the rest what he's got left there, Ox, the likes of your Raskins type thing, he can maybe try and fit them in. Majovsky, Chermiti, etc. He can maybe fit them in to the system he's wanting to play, because he's not had all his signings on the park at one time. So we need to remember that as well, mate. Whether that's going to work or no, mate, whether it's got to work or no, that's a different matter, but we've got to try and cut the gaffer some slack here, to allow him to get 8 players on the park to see what kind of job they're got today. That nucleus today, 7 or 8 players, because he's got to justify their signings, mate. You know what I mean?
Well, they might not be his signings.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know, Ox, because I remember Derek McInnes when he was getting interviewed. I'm sure Fox will be able to dig the interview if need be, but I'm sure Derek McInnes says that there'll be his signings, or he'll have the final say on the signings. It was Langley words. I can't remember it word for word, mate. But the way I read that situation that day when I heard them talking, it was Derek McInnes that was signing it, mate. But we don't know, We don't know. I'd like to hear that interview back again.
But I mean, if you take Shankland and all that, I think all that kicked off long before McCrory with free transfers. Obviously Cammy Devlin was late. McInnes might okayed that, and they've been working on the Pandora and maybe one for a while, but because he said there was talks for a while. But look, if that's for midfield, Dan Neil, Devlin, and the young boy for Serbia at the moment, if that's going to be his midfield 3, only time will tell. Because look, I'm only critiquing the performances I've had for 2 games. That Neil could end up being player of the season, mate. I'm not saying we've seen any evidence of that at the moment, but he could click on Sunday and then just take the game by the string of the horns, and you have to say, by the way, he was a slow starter. I'll go back to, we mentioned a guy, John Lundstrom. Remember, started poor, and then he had a run of form that he was outstanding for us. And then he obviously went down a wee bit, but he had a period. It doesn't mean that players from out of form, but it's when you're known for, you've still got to do the basics. And some of your players, all players, new players, players that are young, old, and different, aren't they doing the basics, Smurf?
No, they're no. And I think as well that the club's probably trying to get players of a certain profile where a sort of assumed certain ceiling to turn a coin and sell them on for profit and that. But many people have come on in the last few weeks, last 10 days, whatever. Multiple people have made the same point. We need, maybe through the spine of the team, maybe a Davy Weir type, or at the back, somebody of a certain level of ability with a load of experience that's going to sort of steer, talk people through games and stuff like that. I mean, that boy Fernandes, he's going to get picked tomorrow because there's literally nobody else, and he shouldn't be playing.
I
Simple.
agree. I agree.
He
I
shouldn't
think
be
we all,
playing.
I don't know if he should be back in the team when he should be, but I think he'll play on Sunday. As mad as it sounds, Smith, I don't
And-
disagree with you.
I think he'll be playing, and the thing is, you look at we've got our right back playing at centre half. We've got a centre half, or a boy that started his career at centre half and was made into a right back, put at right back, and I don't know. It's you know, is he no trusted to play centre half? He's more a natural centre half than John Sterling is. I question a lot what already at this early stage, and I'm a guy that's always back man. I haven't always back managers. I'm a liar. Last year I never. But I was a big advocate for Clement. I thought it was a mistake getting rid of him, and I still believe that. Dennis McInnes is under pressure, and you know, Billy was saying about justification a wee bit. The only thing Derek McInnes is going to justify ultimately is his wages. And he got it wrong at right back last night, and he got it wrong at centre half last night. He's got a captain that shouldn't be a captain, in my opinion, because he'll not have enough minutes in the pitch. And I'll be honest with you, there's every reason to dig him out as there is any player. But some of his decisions have been, for me, can't fathom them. Some of them.
Yeah, Diamondi on the right. Gasman's disappeared. You know, I'll be trying to get him out the door. What would you say to that?
Hopefully.
Aye, what would you say to that, Robert?
If there's an offer there, mate, take it. To be honest with you, attitude,
Listen.
application.
Listen, I've had a message from Mr. Fox, and I agree with him. I think Raskins will start on Sunday. I think Raskins a certainty to start. Yeah. He might not last the full game, but I think he'll start. And then you're down to who plays well and how you set up. And we don't. I think the trouble is we're hunting for something and we've not got it yet. And you question what we've done in pre-season. I really do already. Yeah, I don't think we're any more organised than we did this time last year, which is absolutely frightening. Frightening.
Fox, I think the top performers last year, you've still got to pick them. Really? I mean, you're going to play Raskin, and you've got to look at relationships. And nobody, no, let's not call them Derek McInnes signings, because it's no fair. But let's say the signings that have come in a close season, right, in midfield, that would partner Raskin. None of them set the hand fire. So at least he's got a knowledge, Diamondi Raskin, and vice versa. I'd start the two of them in the middle of the park. Because at least they've got experience of playing together.
If you just take form in the last two games, what is Diamondi? One pass, mate. One pass. Yeah, and all he's done is give the ball away constantly, mate.
I bet he's always done that. He's never been a good passer of the ball.
I know. But listen, it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of conundrums early in the season, and some as we're ending, some obviously recruitment. I get it; it's difficult. I understand fully, and maybe arguably one of the problems is over the last few years we've maybe signed too many players. But if you can't get the number 1, 2, and 3s because they decide to go to that boy that we've been linked with, Summers went, I believe, signed for Hull today.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I mean, let's be honest, with the contracts they're offering down there, it's night and day, mate. It's night and day. So, what do you do, Robert?
Well, that's what you're up against, mate. Yeah, there's always going to be a battle to get a signature, and depending on what you can offer, we know Hull City and Rangers, there's no comparison in terms of size, but when you say Scottish football or English Premier League, you're struggling already. There's TV money's there, the wages are there, everything. Aye, we can offer European
Oh, but
football.
there's a summit. Oh, don't worry about it. There's a summit, mate. Everybody's been called to a summit.
Oh, I seen that tonight, mate. Hopefully it's to say that some people in the SFA hierarchy are going away, but I doubt it. Maybe this is a way to try and improve the game, but you go back to what you can do, and you were talking there about the players over the years, mate. And I know we've just spoken tonight about the last 3 transfer windows, but recruitment's been an issue for a number of years. Albert mentioned it a couple of weeks ago in a show. He would love to know the turnover of players. In 5 years, mate, we have had over 100 players in and out, or in/out at a club. 5 years, and in those 5 years, there's been 7 managers. Arguably, some have went for reasons, right? We can agree with that. But if that's not alarm bells, over 100 players turnover in 5 years, that's alarming, because it tells me that the recruitment haven't got it right once in those 5 years, because we're still having conversations about the exact same positions: centre back, right wing, midfield. It's never ending. So they need to be looked at. And it wouldn't surprise me, because I'll say it now, would not surprise me come December, January, no matter where we are sitting, if we are off the pace in the league, players aren't performing, would not surprise me if Gillespie gets short of Purdy and Felwell.
Well, we don't know what their input is and where they're going and how far down the line they go with them, if they can't make the deals. We don't know that. We're no part of that. But it doesn't look a good hit rate for them. If that's their job recruitment, and when we went through the night where we are, and but as I said, Dan Neil could end up player of the season. We don't know that, Billy. But it doesn't look great at the moment, right? In the first 2 games, he's not set the hair on fire, right? But he's not the first person to do that, you know what I mean? In a new team, but you never know. But you're trying to be fair, but you can only critique what you've seen. I couldn't come on here and say, well, Dan Neil, he's just come in the door. He had an excellent first half. We took him off at half time because of the heat. He took off because he was poor.
Aye, I get that. I mean, you know, with Daniel, I don't know, he must have played there 100 and odd games, but more than that, 150 games for Sunderland, you know, himself, you know, so he's meant to be a tried and tested professional type thing. But listen, as I said, the jury's out, but there's been more, bigger and better players, and I'll always say this out there, and I'll put it out there. There's been bigger and better players came to Rangers than Dan Neil, and no made the grade, you know. And it happens. It's just unfortunate. We're always in the ones that's no making a grade. They come here with a reputation, and it doesn't cut it at Rangers. And it's just the size of the jersey, as I've said a million times. It's a big jersey. It's a heavy jersey to carry that badge there, you know. So you've got to be mentally tough enough, and you've got to have the ability to wear that jersey, you know. But listen, I'm just got to touch on something. I know there's not a lot to go in the show. We look at Mikey Moore there, was 17-year-old when he played with the Rangers. I think he just turned 18 there, you know. We're talking about our centre halves and that. And I know you could say, well, we've not got anybody to play or experience to talk the laddie through the game. But listen, we've got Lanny Arrain there at 17-year-old. Is it maybe time that maybe the gaffer looked at bringing in one of the youth laddies for the setup? For talking sake, young Connor Owen, the captain of the youth team. I mean, what I've seen of that lad, he's a big tough laddie, and he's a blue nose, and he's desperate to learn.
Well, put it this way,
I'll be
brutally frank, mate. It couldn't do any worse.
There you go then, mate. So why not give that laddie bring him into the fold, and let's see what he's got. Let's see what he's got to offer. You know, it maybe be a blessing in disguise. I mean, who knows? You know, if Mikey Moore, you know, Mikey Moore's different gravy. He's you know, down in England and all that. We understand it, but big Mikey Moore's all about. We get all that, the reputation of him and all. But listen, we've got a young laddie there. I said Connor Owen. You know, he's only 17-year-old, mate, and he's a big lumpy laddie. And I've seen him, his interviews and that, Rangers TV and that, and he's a big sponge, that lad. He takes everything in, you know, and he's no captain in that Rangers, the youth team for nothing, or the B team for nothing, you know. So it's maybe a, listen, bring him in, get him training with the first team and see how he goes.
Well, aye. Well, yeah. Okay, as I say, couldn't be any worse. I don't think I could be any worse, mate. Yeah, my positional sense would at least still be better than some others. Yeah, I don't think we lose that first goal if I'm playing. Yeah.
That boy,
You take the right foot bits on, mate. You'll not be slipping in your arse.
Oh, I could play with my slippers. It wouldn't have made any difference to me, mate. You know, but aye. Anyway, last word for your good self, Smith. I'm sorry to the listeners for being so negative. We've got a game on Sunday, but it's just the mood at the moment, and the two performances have gave us cause for concern rather than optimism, and that's worrying for me. And I don't like to be pessimistic. I'm just trying to be realistic. I think that anyway. Last word to Smith.
Listen, chaps, thanks for taking my call. As always, thank you and good night.
Billy.
Aye, cheers again, Ox, mate. Enjoyed that couple of hours on the show there, mate. Big shout out to all the troops on the YouTube feed, all the other socials, mate. The YouTube feed's been good, and a special shout out to Davy Duncan on the YouTube feed. He said, when we were talking about the jury's out, hit or a miss, he said, I'm glad the jury's doesn't pick a team, mate. So I had a wee chuckle to that, man. So, aye, good shout, mate. That's the YouTube shout of the night. But thanks for taking my call. Looking forward to the game on Sunday, Ox, and a Rangers victory, mate. Cheers.
Yes. Robert, last word, mate.
Aye, good to be on again tonight, Ox. Good to be joined by Billy and Smith as well. Looking forward to the game as much as I can be, mate. But hopefully it's a more enjoyable performance and result than a less head scratching. So it can only get better, can't it?
And I'm going to tell you, we can't have a show on Sunday because there's that many people at the game. There you go, eh? That's a good thing, isn't it?
It's always a good thing when we're there cheering on the team to have a victory, mate. But
there's no pre or post match show on Sunday because there's too many people at the game. Yeah, too many people at the game. So listen, thanks to Billy, Derek, Bob here briefly, and his dog. Bob Cheer's dog's name. Does he count as a caller? And Smurf for joining us. Thanks to Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technical. Your good self, Robert. Rangers Radio will be back Monday night between 8 and 10 talking of all things Rangers. And come on, the Rangers on Sunday. Please take this gloom away. Thanks for listening. Take it away, Old School Blue.